Nobody cares about this division other than the Detroit Tigers. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm Adam Peddle, joined alongside by Nicholas Playalog. And the reason why I say nobody cares about this division is A, honestly, I forgot about a lot of these players and on a lot of these teams. And B, it feels like none of these other teams other than Tigers really want to take it and win the AL Central. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be giving our predictions on who we think's going to win. I mean, spoiler, probably the Tigers when you look at everything that's happening right now. But we're going to break it down and give you like an educated breakdown and where these teams have their strengths and where they have their weaknesses. But please hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Let's rip the Band-Aid off like we've been doing, Nick. Let's start with some of the worst ones in this division. Let's start with the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, they're not very good. If there's some like bright-eyed young White Sox fan who is really excited about 2026, I hate to break it to you, kid. It's just the things aren't looking good. When you look at this team, when you look at this roster, it kind of feels like a like a thrift store,
yes,
a little bit.
Store. My hand-me-downs.
Yeah, exactly right. Like it's a bunch of a clothes like amalgamated into this. It's like, how did all these things get here? They don't really fit to make one cohesive thing.
It smells weird.
It
smells
cheap.
weird.
You get
itchy when you go in the clubhouse.
Yeah. But you know what? There is maybe one or two diamonds in the rough.
That's
right?
true.
Because people still go thrift shopping. They still find some good stuff. And I am excited to watch what Munetaka Murakami can provide. That's definitely one of the only diamonds in the rough on this team, honestly. Like, he's going to be fun to watch, and he could end up being the next Japanese superstar. He's only 26 years old right now, so lots of time to have, a strong MLB career, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of the gate and hit 30 home runs. So that's exciting. After that, the thrift shop really does fall off.
Yeah, like they got Anthony Kay over from the NPB. Now, we remember him from our Blue Jay days when he was back with us and we were kind of ass, and he was one of the young, prospects that we traded for Marcus Stroman for.
He was also ass, though.
He was ass, but he did really well in the NPB. What could you get there? And then they signed Sir Anthony Dominguez this offseason as their closer. And, there's some names back here. Like, you got Jordan Hicks. That guy was a guy at one point, especially in the bullpen. So, he obviously became a starter for the most part, and it somewhat didn't really work out, but that's effectively it. And, for them, I think they got to be just looking at the top prospects right now. They got a few top prospects in the top 100 in overall MLB. You got to hope that some of them hit and we start to see the next step in this entire rebuild. Yeah,
that's really it, man. Is Munetaka somebody that we can kind of build our organization around? Granted, I think he's only on a 2 or 3 year deal, but you know what? If he still chose the White Sox, right? So if he's really good here, and maybe you can keep him, maybe you can sign him back, maybe he can be one of your core pieces that you have here for a period of time.
You can't just scare him off, though. If you're winning 60 games a year, then
well, there's got to be a vision, you know what I mean? And as long as the vision is okay, we're trying to find our foundational pieces here, and then we're gonna get our top prospects up. I think that's the goal, and I do think, honestly, if I'm being real, it is gonna be close to a 60 or 70 win season. 70 wins would be a massive W, honestly, for the Chicago White Sox. They won 60 last year, and it's probably going to be something similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to the Minnesota Twins, who had a terrible season last year, 70 wins for them. They were always a team that I kind of considered they could stand the test of time a little bit, They didn't go out and spend a whole lot of money. They did make some trades for guys, leaving, but they were always a relatively good baseball team. And then last year it kind of just they couldn't keep it up anymore.
Yeah, the big problem with them was always the injuries, and I don't know if necessarily that was their problem last year. I'm looking over and I'm seeing a lot of guys that actually had a lot of plate appearances, like Byron Buxton, who's always hurt, had 500 plate appearances, right? And then even Royce Lewis, he had 400 plate appearances. It's just Royce Lewis, when he was on the field, wasn't Royce Lewis. He had a 671 OPS now that he's finally healthy. And yeah, Byron Buxton played really well, but things just didn't really click for them last year. And I think their pitching staff, if I'm not mistaken, was just not very good. 23rd in ERA for starting pitching and 26th in relief pitching. And then they sold at the deadline, and then they just started going in the tank. So, and then they honestly traded away everyone at the deadline and in the offseason. They started getting rid of a lot of pieces. So for me, like, the team is basically Byron Buxton and Joe Ryan, the only guys remaining.
And it's likely that Joe Ryan's going to go. And the only reason why Byron hasn't gone is because apparently he's committed to Minnesota for whatever reason.
Yeah, like, seriously, I don't know if he's like a native there, like, or he's like got family there, or whatever it is, or he just likes the city. But yeah, like he's just gonna live and die on Minnesota.
A Minnesota native there.
Yeah, exactly, right. Hey, listen, they got their culture up there in Minnesota, so maybe he really likes it up there. But the team isn't going to be very good this year. This feels like a team just like the Cardinals, where they're gonna just go into the full tank. They're not really going to have any aspirations right now to rebuild. Like, maybe there's something there. Like, I still look at the lineup and I see some names. Maybe there's something there, but I just don't see them really beating any other teams.
That's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, it's just like, yeah, maybe some of these guys could, but likely a lot of them won't. And the ones that don't will likely be, pretty below average MLB players, and they're going to drag the rest of the team down. That pitching staff, like, I honestly, like, that pitching staff for me, the lineup's got a bunch of question marks in its own right, but like the pitching staff I just don't know about this, and Joe Ryan's likely going to get traded, and Bailey Ober had a 5 ERA last year, and he's your number 2.
Yeah, he was really good the year prior. And then,
I'm just this is too, and then you got 3 like 25-year-olds back there. I don't know, man. It's just there's too many question marks here for me. I think this is going to be a pretty bad team, and it's boring and a kind of a bad analysis for me to just say they're going to do what they did last year. But I think they're just going to do what they did last year and win about 70 games again, and that'll be it.
Like, they didn't do anything promising. That's the thing. Like, all their additions, like, you added Josh Bell. Like, you're not going to go win the division if you're adding
who I like, but not as your 2-hitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Like, that's your main guy, and Taylor Rogers, not even the cooler other brother Tyler Rogers. So like you're just not going to win the division like that. So that's our analysis. They're probably going to be number 4 in that division.
Bad.
They're bad. Let's move on to another team that actually won the division last year, had like a Cinderella story, the Cleveland Guardians. Now, the thing with the Cleveland Guardians, again, there's always a handful of teams that just play really good baseball, and they coach really well, and they develop really well. This year, however, feels like a bit of a hiccup year for the Guardians upcoming, because they've always had a great pitching staff. That's always been their thing. And last year, they had a great pitching staff, like the relief pitchers, 3rd in ERA, starting pitching, kind of mid. They were 10th in ERA, but all the other categories were kind of up there. They walked a lot of guys. Walk-ups per 9 were 26. But you look at the pitching staff this year, and I'm not really getting inspired with Gavin Williams. He's good. Don't get me wrong. Great pitcher, 3.06 ERA. But, Tanner Beebe, mid, 4.24 ERA. I don't even know who Ciccone is. Maybe they're going to come out and surprise me. Logan Allen, get not inspiring. And then Joey Cantillo. Like, it's just not an inspiring rotation. Bullpen, top heavy, right, with Cade Smith and Gaddis and Armstrong. But then it kind of falls off, like, after that. But, Eric's pretty good. Matt Festa after that just kind of falls off. So it doesn't instill me with confidence that they could really rely on that backbone of the team this year.
Did they lose anyone significant from that pitching staff?
I don't think so.
Because that's honestly going to be the determining factor for me, right? It's like I tend to agree with you when I look at that.
Yeah, like, I'm
and
not
I see the names. I'm not inspired.
I know who they lost. The guy who cheated. Or the guy who bet on himself. Class.
Yeah, but they lost him like halfway through last year, though. But I mean, for me, like, I look at that starting rotation and I'm with you. I don't really get it. But they did still have the 10th best ERA, like, and they didn't lose anyone. Like, those were the guys. So I mean, like, I guess they did it last year with those numbers. Like, maybe you can do it again. I think the big thing for me with Cleveland, like, I look at their lineup, I look at all their guys and stuff, and there isn't anything super inspiring to me. But they still somehow won the division last year,
it was magical,
whilst having the 29th ranked offense.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
You know,
I don't know how they did it.
Yeah,
like, genuinely.
So, like, I guess, you know, for me, I can look at this team and I can look at this roster and I can tell you, like, it doesn't look that good to me because it doesn't. It's Jose Ramirez and then like a bunch of what ifs. Steven Kwan, kind of, but he didn't even play that well offensively speaking. But the fact of the matter is, like, with those guys being the 29th ranked offense, somehow they still won 88 and somehow they still won the division.
You know, I feel like Cleveland, and this is probably disrespectful to Cleveland, but it is what it is. Cleveland is a product of being in their division where they can really beat up on the teams that we just broke down, the White Sox, the Twins, because they play good baseball. They're fundamentally sound. They have good pitching, and they're third in defensive run save, or 14th in defensive run save, third in overall defense in all of MLB. So, like, they play just good baseball. Like, that's the core fundamentals of baseball, pitching and defense. And then the offense, they somehow just get by with Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan, and you know, there's a couple names in there that you kind of like, and they got some prospects coming up. Maybe they do something. So I think this Guardians team, if there's one kind of obviously dark horse, it would be this team because they just managed to do it every year. Somehow.
Yeah, that being said, I don't have them pegged for 88 again. Like, 88 feels pretty high. That feels like the ceiling of outcome. Again, it's just like, how often can you do that when you have one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in baseball? And, like, you want to talk about trade talks, Steven Kwan's in a lot of trade talks.
Right.
If some of their pitchers pop off, I'm sure they'll be in trade talks. So, honestly, like, I'm thinking Guardians are going to be more of like a 84 or 80, you know, like kind of win team for me. I don't think they got enough to win the division, but you never know. Magic struck last year. Maybe it does again.
Yeah, and like maybe they could try to squeak into a wild card. You never know. But that's the Guardians right there. And then the next team, which honestly, this is one of the teams that I always forget about, man. I always forget on who's on their team other than the magical Bobby Witt. And after that, I don't really know. It's the Kansas City Royals, and they had 82 wins last year. They've always been that team in the last few years, ever since Bobby Witt came up, that everyone had pegged as maybe they have a chance. They can make a couple sneaky free agent additions, a couple trades here and there, and maybe they got a chance to take that division. And they might have a chance, but you know, we got to see what some of these guys in the lineup do. I really like their lineup, the top heavy guys.
Well, of course, man.
Really
I mean, I'll tell you what, like, they got to figure out a way to capitalize on this window because Bobby Witt's one of the best baseball players I've ever seen. I don't know if you saw some of the defensive plays he was making in the WBC.
Gross,
like, it was I've never seen anyone play shortstop like that.
No,
he was
a freak of
flying around.
He's a freak of nature.
He's like flying around to his right, you know, diving down, and then he's up on one knee and just guns a man down. I'm like, how the fuck are you capable of doing that?
Bobby Witt is actually, if you were to print a baseball player, like photocopy and print what a baseball player should be, it's Bobby Witt Jr.
Textbook
it's
stuff.
Like, like you play great, sure, Ohtani, sure, Judge, sure, but like all-round five-tool player Bobby Witt.
Yeah,
like that, amazing.
Every tool in the book, that guy's got it. He is phenomenal. So I'm a Bobby Witt Jr. guy. I mean, that's not a hot take. Everybody is, but you got to figure out a way to capitalize around him. The guy had 8 WAR last year.
That's so insane.
Yeah, definitely figure out a way to do that. At this point, they haven't really been capable of it. They've kind of, like you said, just been that, you know, a little bit better than 500 team ever since he's come about. This year, Vinny Pasquantino is nice and Garcia is nice. I do think the lineup falls off a little bit as it goes on. Like, their top 4 are pretty good, and I trust in Sal Perez. What they need to have happen here is you know, can Jonathan India be Rookie of the Year again? Like, can that breakout happen? Can their nice young prospect in Carter Jensen, who's their number 1 in their system and 32 overall, can he show up and can he do a 941 OPS over the full season? You're going to need to have at least 1 or 2 breakouts there, because I think like a strong lineup in baseball, or not even a strong lineup, but a serviceable lineup in baseball, I'm looking for 5 individuals. I need to see a top 5 where it's like, oh, you guys can cook together, and that's just a serviceable. The best lineups have like 7 or 8, but like if you can give me 5 guys off the top, like, all right, we can work with this.
Because think about it logically. You start with that number 1 guy. He gets, if you can get like 2 or 3 of those guys getting a hit and maybe two of them get out, then it's like, okay, we scored a run.
We scored a run.
We scored a run in that top 5. Whereas when you got a good top 3, it's like, now I need extra base pop, or I need someone unexpected to come up, and it's not serviceable. But you're right, the offense is the key here, because last year they were 26 in baseball. It's just, I mean, the Guardians somehow did it, but it didn't work for them. But the pitching staff was good. Literally 7th in ERA in starting pitching and 7th in ERA in relief pitching. They got names like Cole Reagan's got to stay healthy. That guy is super awesome when he's healthy. Michael Wacha, that's a dude that eats innings right there, 386. Bubic, Lugo, Cameron, like these are all guys that eat a lot of innings and put up some pretty solid work. So keep rolling those guys out there, and then their bullpen's pretty good. Carlos Estevez leading the charge. So if they can keep that backbone, kind of like the Guardians, that's a good backbone. You got good defense with Bobby Witt and company, and you got good pitching. You just got to get the offense a little bit more consistent. And then actually, if they do that, I'm not going to lie, like I kind of, now I'm sort of buying myself in to the Royals a little bit, but you just need, it's just the offense. Like you kind of have to go make a big splash for a bat. You got to hope you get to deadline. You got to make a splash for a bat. They got to do something, because like, yeah, you're right. They can't miss out on this window of Bobby Witt.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I look at the Royals and I could very easily see a world where the Guardians and the Royals swap in their win totals there.
Yeah, like, I could see the Royals getting high 80s.
Like high 80s,
as their ceiling.
Like that's like they're in the range of like 86, 87, 88, 89, like that. It's Kansas City is, and like that, and that might be enough for a wild card. All that being said, though, I don't think it's enough to win the division, because I think you saw Detroit last year have one of the worst seasons that they're gonna have. Like, I just don't think that they're gonna have 87 wins again. I think this is a I think they're like, I don't think the division winner here is gonna win with 88 again. I think that Detroit is gonna put up a 94 type of win season and commandingly win this thing, and then you're gonna see Kansas City roll in at number 2. But last year they were kind of just average across the board at everything, like good at everything but not great at everything. This year, though, we're expecting that to be a bit better. Looking at that offense, they actually have their number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Kevin McGonigal.
What a name. Kevin McGonigal.
I'm probably mispronouncing that, but
like a Harry Potter.
It is, yeah. McGonagall is literally a Harry Potter character.
Yeah,
I think it's spelled differently, but it certainly reads the same. Anyways, he's the number 5 overall prospect in all of baseball, and they're number 1, of course, and they're projecting him to be with the team opening day and even lead off. I don't know if that's actually how they're going to run things, but that's exciting, right? Like that's clearly going to be somebody eventually. Can he do it immediately? And then you got a couple names back there that I think we all like at this point. Like Torres showed up last season and was decent, and Carpenter is like,
like Carpenter.
Honestly, one of the more underrated players in all baseball is Kerry fucking Carpenter.
I agree. When he gets hot, dude, he is literally so good. Like there was a stretch, I remember I had him on my fantasy team where he was just so good at baseball. He kind of fell off at the end because the numbers were like insane, but he was so good. Riley Green, obviously we know in love, like that guy is solid. Torkelson, good bounce back for Torkelson last year. You needed to see that. Colt Keith, same thing. Like again, like he could get hot at any given time. He's real good. Dingler, McKinstry, like these are names that just like these are all their prospects that have eventually turned out to be good serviceable MLB players that came through that wave.
I'm looking at the lineup right now. Just look from, so this is all last year's numbers, from Gleyber Torres all the way to Zach McKinstry. It's like you don't have any crazy, superpower star there, but you also don't have any free outs. And it's like at any given point, like a couple of these guys can string something together.
They got to be, I think the Tigers got to be pesky hitters. I'm not too familiar with their game and their approach, but they got to be like super pesky, because like a lineup like this, if like they run into one, they could really show up. If they could just stay pesky and wear down the other team's pitching, then their pitching is going to really take on a form, a life of its own and dominate games.
Their pitching will win.
Their pitching, that's the reason why. They got to just survive, right? They got to survive offensively and let the pitching roll, because, I mean, hello, like this could be one of the best rotations of all of baseball next year. Tarek Skubal, best pitcher in all of baseball, undoubtedly number 1 on Fangraphs. Valdez, great signing. Glad that they got him, because he's going to join a rotation with Flaherty. Verlander, who had a really good year last year for 42 years old, going to 43. Casey Mize rounding it out, being very good. They added Kenley Jansen to the bullpen. Will Vest. That bullpen was very good, very solid, very deep. Like, that's it. Again, this division is very much pitcher heavy. Rely on the backbone of your pitching, and if you can get anything from the offense, and I think they have the best chance because they got the deepest lineup, then they are absolutely going to win 90 games in this division.
Yeah, the way that I look at it is that's going to be a top 5 pitching rotation in baseball, which will likely help their bullpen also be very good because they added to their bullpen too. So I'm thinking that both starting and relief pitching, you're gonna see a top 10 number guaranteed, and then the lineup, like honestly, like I even think the lineup could be a top 10 lineup. Like if everybody's just like if they do what they did last year, and everyone's got a mid to high 700 OPS, like
with a couple breakouts, like what if McKinstry just all of a sudden was like 850,
or McGonagall has some magic in it, and just shows up and goes ludicrous mode. I mean, maybe he could, right? If he slotted in at their leadoff spot.
Yeah.
So I like the Tigers a lot. And looking over at the odds, everybody, like normally I'm one to go for, some of the value picks, but I actually just genuinely believe in this one a lot. I think that this is good value to take the Tigers at 2.1 times your money.
It feels right. It does feel like they are going to win at 50% of the time. Like I was floating the idea of sprinkling in a Guardian. If you're a big Guardian fan, like it's 5.25, and just the way they play baseball, man, it's just one of those things you can't underrate them. Like they're going to show up and they'll find a way. If they can get a little bit better in 29th ranked offense, like maybe they'll also show up and beat the Tigers like they did last year. So just that's where I'd probably see a little bit of value. But other than that, like I don't really like any other these other lines. Like White Sox at 31, like that needs to be like 1,000.
Yeah. Again, I just don't think we're taking anyone else. If you believe in the FanGraphs projections, go back to the Detroit page for a second.
Yeah.
They have their winning the divisions here. If you believe in their projections, then taking the Tigers is actually a smash because they're thinking that 61% of the time they're going to win the division,
right?
And you're getting like more. That's I think the implied odds from Sports Interaction is like below 50%. So if you buy into these projections, then you should take that because I kind of do. I think the Tigers are going to win this thing 61% of the time.
They should. Again, they're the only team in this division that actually gives a shit. It looks like they went out, they made all the right moves to go add to the team. Now they just got to go out and play some baseball. We got baseball starting in 8 days at least for the Toronto Blue Jays, 7 days for some other teams. That's super, super exciting. But guys, if you enjoyed this projection series, make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.